Well, today I have the pleasure of Mike Welch joining me from all the way from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, from SJC Excavating. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Mike, tell me a bit about SJC Excavating.
SJC Excavating, we're a heavy civil, heavy excavation company located up here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We do everything from the ground up when it comes to site work for large scale commercial projects.
Well, Mike, you've personally been working with AGTEK for the past year, but SJC Excavating has been working with AGTEK for a very long time. How are you using AGTEK?
So I use it for materials and underground. I use it in Gradeworks as well. The last year, I've taught myself a lot with it through their online community access program and online trainings. And we use it for everything from basic cut fills to strata data for ledge and unsuitable materials, and really diving into the materials and underground to make sure everything's kind of squared away.
Now, one thing I want to talk to you, Mike, about is workflows and AgTech workflows. You're using multiple different modules of AgTech, that you're using Gradework, you're using materials, you're using underground. How are these modules helping you with your takeoffs and then beyond the takeoff?
Yeah, it's great in that, I put the information in there for the basic takeoff of cuts and fills, and then usually I dive right into materials and undergrounds. And I've been really trying to put a lot of effort into putting existing utilities in there, so that I can reference it to the proposed utilities and really try to understand if there's any pipe conflicts, try to get ahead of anything that we can from the office before it gets out to the field.
Mike, as you know, AgTech is quite an integrated solution. From your experience, from a workflow perspective, is it making your life easier?
Yeah, the workflow is very easy. I would say it's in the program. It's very easy to go from materials and undergrounds, and applying your trenches, and then being able to look at that in real life, kind of 3D. In Gradeworks, you can bring your trenches to Gradeworks, so you can get a great 3D model that we've actually been trying to incorporate into for our projects to give the foreman and the supervisor that's going to be out there in the field a good view of what these utilities are more than likely going to look like when they're in the field.
We know that the earth moving space and the construction space is highly competitive. When it comes to competing out there in the market, what is your main focus?
A lot of our general contractors that we work for, they want to know, what type of cubic yards you're coming up with your cuts and fills. They want to be able to quantify ledge on the project. And a lot of this stuff is asked, during the pre-bid process or during the bid process. It's great to know that I can go into AgTech and get very accurate data on strata data, cuts and fills in general, even down to bedding materials for pipes and materials and undergrounds. It gives me a good, very good knowledge of what these quantities are. So that way, when we're talking with general contractors, we can say with full confidence, I know what these quantities are. I know what our pricing will be. We can stand by this.
Now, Mike, with any software solution, we know that there is a learning curve. You don't automatically know how to use software. You've been working with AgTech for the past 12 months and took over from somebody else who was working with AgTech within the company. What was your learning experience like when it came to getting up to speed with AgTech?
It was a very steep curve. The majority of my career, I worked out in the field. I didn't have the greatest tech background, I would say, but AgTech, I would say, was very easy to learn over the course of a year. In the short time that I did pick it up, I think it probably took me 2 months to get up to speed with AgTech, and that was through a lot of the training videos that are online, a lot of trial and error with it. But it was easy to work through the trial and error problems when I was able to reference the online training for it, and just kind of take it step by step. So not being a tech guy, I feel like I picked it up pretty quickly.
What does AgTech really mean for SJC Excavating?
AgTech is, I would say, it's really the lifeline of the estimating department here. The data that we can pull from it is amazing. And things happen quick sometimes. We get asked by a customer to turn something around in a short amount of time, and I find with AGTEK that it's what you put into it. You can turn information around in an hour, or you can take 8 hours really diving into the depths of it. And what you put into it is really what you get out of it. If you need something down and dirty, you can do something down and dirty. If you need great detail, you can get into great detail in this project.
Well, Mike, it was good to meet you and to find out more about your use of AGTEK at SJC Excavating. Wish you all the best in the future with AGTEK.
Thank you very much.